I think that women need to be confident. And I'm not saying that women don't have insecurities, but the core of who you are, you have to have confidence in who you are. All the extra stuff, you don't like your feet, you don't like your hands, you don't like, that stuff can be worked on. But as far as your inner being, I don't know if a man can really, repair that. I don't know if a man can really, get down in there and make you feel different about how you feel about yourself on the inside. And that's why a lot of these women, they go out, they get these BBLs, they get their boobs done, they get these lip injections, and they wear the wigs and all the other stuff because they truly do not like who they are naturally. And I think that's a problem. I also think that idle time is the devil's playground. If you worried about where he at, what he doing, who he could be with, that means you're not busy enough. You don't have anything to do. You don't have a purpose. You don't have something that you can give your time, attention, your gift.
Women business.
Yeah, you don't have that because there's no way that I would be just like, oh, well, I wonder who else he's talking to. And I wonder, like, no, if he's talking to somebody else, he's talking to somebody else. And then it'll eventually come out and I'll know what I need to know. But I'm not going to insinuate or assume things that I haven't proven, that are not proven to be true to me. I think that that is very disruptive to your being and your thinking process. And some women can't even concentrate throughout the day because they so worried about their man. And I think I agree with everyone and what everyone was saying, but it's like if you're thinking about your man and what he's doing and things of that nature, you have to ask yourself, what is the root of that? Why are you thinking that way? Does it come from a previous relationship? Did it come from that actual relationship that you're now in? But you have to get to the
It usually
root
comes
of
from your
it.
parents.
Yeah, you're
Childhood.
right. That could be a possibility.
Because
But
we
you have
we
to.
men ain't did nothing to y'all. It's y'all parents that did something to y'all, and then y'all blame it on us.
Well, I mean,
I'm
there could
a
be some cases where a man could have cheated on his woman, and she's now insecure. That happens.
No,
That
it's
happens.
way. In my opinion,
It
a
happens.
man cheating on a woman that doesn't traumatize a woman. That may
Yes,
hurt
it
her or
does.
whatever,
It
It
does.
but
it it
I'm not
it
saying it doesn't.
It's a
But the
seed of
beginning
insecurity. It puts a seed of
is bad.
insecurity. When you go ahead and cheat, that woman, when you go out, she's going to say, I wonder if he's going straight where he said he was going.
Mhm.
And
Because a
even
couple months
with
ago,
that,
he was with old Shorty in the park in the car. Like,
right?
it's going to do that for a woman. It just is.
But
There's
when
because
nothing that
part
you
hold on, because part of the thing is that when a woman gets cheated on, the first thing she's gonna think about is about what did she didn't
Do
what she
that
didn't
right.
part
have
She's
or what
going
she
to
did that
and
the
that
other woman
feeling of
has that
rejection
she
that
doesn't
usually
have.
comes from your
One at a time. Stay
childhood.
here. One at a time.
It usually comes from your childhood, that level of rejection, and what just like what Casey said, then the confirmation bias comes in, like my mother doing something or saying something, or my father leaving me or whatever,
no,
or
that's
making
not
me feel
true because
unworthy.
it's a new
Next thing
form
you
of
know, you
relationship.
get with a man and he confirms what you already felt about yourself, like what
That's not
Casey said.
true. That's not
That
true
is
because
true.
it's a new.
That's
No,
how
it's not.
confirmation yes it
That
does.
that's not the
It
form
usually
of
comes from your childhood rejection.
All
no.
right, hold on. Let
That's
go.
not the
Let it figure
form
out.
of confirmation bias because you are trying to
That is
parallel
confirmation
that
bias.
with
Hold on. Let go.
something.
Let her get it out.
You're trying to parallel that with something that's a new experience, right? So my parents have never cheated on me because I've never been intimate with my parents and I've never had a
It's the
affectionate. Wait
rejection.
a minute. Wait a minute. Give me
It's
a
not the
second.
cheating.
Give me 1 minute, and I'm gonna walk you through it, right? So I've never had this type of experience of that form of rejection to where I wasn't accepted in a romantic way by my parents. What that would be, that self doubt, that self worth, that form of disappointment about self, that comes from not feeling desirable from a man. So that is cemented from a man. It has nothing to do with my parents because my parents have never rejected me in a way where it's like, oh, you're ugly, you're not good enough, I would never sleep with you. I would never want you. Most women are not having that type of relationship with their parents.
So let me hold on. Let me go back and forth with you on that. This is an interesting conversation. Most women are dealing with that form of rejection with their parents. You may not have been dealing with that, which is a good thing.
Most women's parents
hold on, Paris. Let's have a conversation. Most women are dealing with that form of rejection, not only with her father, but with her own mother. Most Black women have tumultuous or abusive relationships with their own mother. So the person that birthed them is usually the first person that actually made them feel unworthy. And going out in the world, hold on, after, like, because you got to think about it. Most of our trauma comes from before we even start liking the opposite sex, before the age of 15. So you got 12 to 15 years of childhood trauma, and you go out into the world, and a boy or a girl, your first boyfriend or whatever in your teenage years, hurt you. And it confirms what one of your parents made you feel when you was a child. Most young people, male and female, mainly women, of course, were either M'd or R'd by a guardian. And they went to their mother and told them, this person did this to me. And that form of rejection, when their mother turns around and said, you're lying, or you shouldn't have been wearing what you was wearing, or if you tell somebody you're gonna have to get out my house. Most young girls were actually put out or told to leave or threatened to be put out by the age of 13 or 15.
That's
so around that time. That is a rejection that nobody ever wants to talk about.
I don't want to go into that because I feel like we're straying from the point. You're trying to make an extreme a very macro point. And
most women were told to get out of their own house.
Hold on, let go. Let her finish.
Let her finish. True, right?
That is rejection.
That's not true.
That's rejection.
Is even with what Precious was saying, how there are some men who can never fix what she has internally. Most times, there are some women who are so male identified. The only times that they actually do feel good about themselves is when a man is vindicating them, when a man is validating what they're doing and how they're feeling, whether it's their behavior, whether it's their looks, whether it's, whatever. All of their insecurities are reassured by a man. And that's the only time that they want to be, the best version of themselves, because there has been a man there to tell them, oh, well, you're not this, you're not the lesser version of yourself. You're better than what you thought yourself was. So the same way there are some women that they have insecurities, it's nothing you can say to them. They just keep going to get the fix. It's the same way there are some women, they feel so confident in themselves because there's been a man around in order to reassure that and validate that.
So,
what you talking about, MLG, that's crazy.